what are we going to learn today? Who all got a chance to see what we are going to cover in the class today? Nobody? And so there are two things that I would want you guys to practice. Look, Tansi. There are two things that I would want you guys to practice, okay? They are, one thing is, before the class, I publish what are the things that we are going to learn, okay? So, if you don't have your phone in the group, ask your parents to understand what are the things that we are going to cover so that you are mentally prepared for those topics. That is one. Second thing is, I don't keep checking the assignments or homework for you guys. The understanding is that whatever assignments I give, you guys are doing it and showing it to your parents. And there's a purpose for it, okay? It becomes a way for me to assess whether I'm teaching you guys okay or not, okay? So please do the assignment and show the assignment to your parents, and then your parents can choose whether you want to share with me or not. But the idea is that I should know what are the things my kids have understood versus not understood, okay? Yep. And when I say my kids, you guys are the ones I'm talking about, okay? I'm not talking about only Myra in the classroom, and she's not there in the class any which way today. Alright, so the topics that we're going to cover today, again, as I mentioned, from 3rd week of June we have started going through all the syllabus for 6th, 7th and 8th grade. So today we are going to talk about classifying numbers, introducing negative numbers, and understanding or envisioning where do you plot them on the number line or where do you visualize them on the number line. Then we'll talk about rational numbers and decimals on number lines, comparing negative numbers and introduction to absolute value, and then multiplying decimals or dividing decimals. So let's start with that. First of all, the most important thing that we need to know is, and again, you guys will be surprised to know that these are the questions that is asked even in SAT. So knowing about the number system is a very crucial part of our understanding, okay? So let's do a double click on what are different types of numbers that we know about. Yeah? So, and you guys will have to stop me when you are not able to see the board, because once it gets darker, you'll not be able to see the board. Is it okay so far? Somewhat okay? Let me turn it on. So let's say this is our number line, and as you guys would have already been knowing, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it goes on. -1, -2, -3, -4, goes on. Now, if I'm looking at numbers from here till, you can imagine, what are these numbers called?
Natural numbers.
Natural numbers. Yeah? So this is called natural numbers. If I include 0 also, what is it called? Anybody apart from Sammy? Wait. If I include 0 also in this group, what is that called?
Whole numbers.
Whole numbers, okay. If I include everything here, from here to here, meaning 0 all the way till infinity on the positive direction, 0 all the way till negative infinity in this left direction, what is that called?
Real numbers.
Real numbers, or there's one more name.
Integers.
Integers, yes. This is called integers. So, if you have to imagine or visualize this like a Venn diagram, how would it look like? It will be like this. A Venn diagram is a diagram used for representing certain things. Let's look at it. This bigger circle is called integer. Inside that, I am calling this as whole number, meaning the whole group that includes 0 also. And if I exclude 0 and look at only positive numbers, this is called natural numbers. So basically, if you visualize these three circles, this is the smallest group. It has only all the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can just go on. You included 0 also. Then this became whole number. So whole number includes 0 plus all the natural numbers. And then if you put -1, -2, -3 and just go on, that included, that becomes integers. So if you're talking about integers, you're talking about natural number plus whole number, which is 0. A natural number and 0, that makes it a whole number, plus all the negative numbers that you can think of. Does it sound okay? Tansi,
Yes, sir.
Samrita, Sandrine, Celine, everybody? Gayatri, okay? Arya with me? Okay. So, this is just a basic understanding of numbers. This is how you start. But life never remains so easy for any of us. It is our interest. It is in our interest to make it as simple as we can by using interesting mathematical methods. So let's look at it. So going back to the number line. Now it's very clear. 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. So if I'm looking at only this part of the number line, I'm talking about natural numbers. Include 0, whole numbers, everything else integers. Is that all we need to know? Or life has more to offer? More to offer. I picked up a point between 0 and 1 and I say, I'll not give you $1, I'll give you less than 1. I might give you half a dollar, I might give you 0.75 of a dollar. I might give you 80 cents, I might give you 95 cents. But I'm not giving you one complete dollar. This is when we get introduced to fractions. Yeah? Fractions, which you can also represent in the form of a decimal. How we have to visualize that is, that if I have, let's say 0 and 1, I can divide that into 10 parts, and every part is 0.1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and 10 times 0.1 will give me a complete 1. So that is how, when your one whole number is split into multiple pieces, that is when you come across fraction or decimal like scenario. Okay, so let's say fraction. Fraction is also called rational number. Something that is represented in the form of a fraction is called rational number also. But life has the beauty of getting more and more complicated. How about this point? It is a number coming after 1. So let's say this point from here to here is 1/3, meaning it is 1/3 of the distance between 1 and 2. It becomes 1 and 1/3. What is it? Mixed numbers. And I'm again going back to all the basic concepts of number system, okay? And then we'll go into the more interesting facts about it. So we started with fractions, we saw mixed numbers, and then fractions or mixed numbers can be represented in the form of a decimal also. Correct? Is everything okay so far?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Similarly, if you go in this direction, what you'll get, let's say this is 1/2, from here to here 1/2, here it is -1/2, -3/2, or whatever. So these are the fractions or rational numbers we are talking about. Now when you put everything together, that is what is called a real number. That's where I was stopping some of you. Okay? Real number is any number that can be represented on a number line. Be it a whole number, be it a natural number, be it integer, be it a fraction, be it a mixed number. Anything and everything that you can represent on a number line is called a real number, because that's a number that realistically exists. Make sense? Okay. So now let's try to understand a little bit more, okay, about the number line, and then we'll try breaking our head with what is our understanding of a negative number and how does it come into play. And many of you would already be knowing about it. I'll just try to give you guys a different perspective. So this is a number line where, and this is where you are going in a negative direction. If you are traveling in this direction, you are increasing. If you are traveling in this direction, you are decreasing. Am I with you guys? Are you guys with me? Okay. I said, if I am traveling in the right direction, I am following the right path and I am increasing. If I am traveling in the left direction, be it traveling from here to here, be it traveling from here to here, as long as I am traveling in the left direction, that path is not right and that is decreasing. And hence, if I go to minus 60 and 0, which one is bigger? Yes, Anvita.
0.
Sandra and Celine.
0.
Gayatri.
0.
Arya. You can mute yourself, beta. Then you can give me the answer. Which one is bigger, 0 or minus 60?
0.
I'm sorry, beta?
0.
0. Okay. Dikshita.
0, sir.
Swami.
0.
So it's kind of hard to believe that 0 is bigger than something. Yeah? 0 is bigger than something. It's kind of, practically if as a normal human being, if we try relating to that concept, it sounds kind of little weird, right? If I say I have $0 but I'm richer than you. But if you try relating that with some practical evidence, let's look at it now. I have $0 and I am, let's say I'm claiming that I am richer than, let's say, Dikshita, okay? Why? Because Dikshita has minus $2. I have $0. I'm almost on the verge of begging.
Sir,
Yeah.
does that mean she's in debt?
Yes, that's what I was coming to. I have $0, meaning I have no money, but I have no liability also. Dikshita has a number other than 0, but with a negative. That's a liability. That's something that she owes to somebody. She would have to earn this much before she can be equivalent to 0. She has to knock off her loans before she can come to a ground zero. Make sense, everybody?
Yes, sir.
So that is how you have to look at it. That is why, if in simple calculation examples, you would see that, okay, somebody says 5 minus 70. First response, okay, it's in the reflection zone. Let me write it somewhere here. 5 minus 70. People will say, yeah.
I wanted to tell the answer.
Okay. You can hold it for a little bit. Let me double click on this one. So when you look at 5 minus 70, when kids who are younger than you guys, they will say, no, you cannot subtract 70 from 5. Yes, that is correct. I cannot subtract 70 from 5. What subtracting means is giving away what you have. So I have only $5. How I can give $70 to somebody else? So that is when it's okay to get that response from younger kids, because they don't know the concept of loan. What is happening here is, I had only 5. I had to still give 70 to somebody. I gave 70, but by borrowing some money from somebody. And then that created liability for me. That's what negative means. Any negative number that you see, that's always a liability. that is the money that you owe to somebody. That is the balance that you are starting with, which you have to knock off before you come to ground zero. Is that okay? Yeah?
Sir.
So this is just the understanding, just to build the understanding of a negative number. Now somebody say, okay, 12 minus 5 plus 8 minus 20, 30 minus 60 plus 18. And when you look at a calculation like this, I'm just reading it for you guys. Maybe I have written that in the reflection zone. 12 minus 5 plus 8 minus 30 minus 60 plus 18. Let's say, I'm just making it up. Don't try doing calculation, but it's okay. What I'm trying to say here is, all the numbers with positive are your assets. 12, 8 and 18, these are your assets. These are your earnings. Whatever you have as negative, those are your liabilities. So what is your net worth is a difference between your net earning minus the liabilities. Meaning what you'll do is, what is the total liability I have? I have $30 liability here. Let's say I borrowed this money from Dikshita, $60 liability which I borrowed from Gayatri, and $5 liability I borrowed from, let's say, Sandrine. So 30 plus 60 plus 5, 95 is total money that I have borrowed from somebody. This is my negative balance. And all the numbers that are positive, that is what I have earned by doing lawn mowing, by working in my office, by doing whatever I do. Yeah. So I have earned 12 plus 8, 20 plus 18, 38. So basically when you're dealing with negative numbers, you have to always look at them as liabilities, and all the positive numbers that you have are your earnings or the assets. So you will add all your earnings together, add all your liabilities together, and then subtract from your earning the liability part. That's okay? And that doesn't only apply for regular integer addition subtraction, it applies for decimal addition subtraction multiplication division. It applies also for algebraic equations where you're trying to add, subtract, divide, multiply the things with variables. Like you would have seen the equations or expressions. Somebody says, okay, x plus 2x, x minus 2x plus 3x plus 7. If when you're trying to deal with something like this, here also this minus 2x is your liability, this x and this 3x is your earning. That is how you will deal with them. Okay, so when we go to algebraic equations and all, we'll talk about them. But is this a common or good understanding to start with?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everybody. Now, and as I said, a real number is a number that you can plot on a number line. So be it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 0.1, 1.2, 2.4, whatever it be. As long as you can plot them on the number line, or be it a negative number 1, minus 2 or something like minus 1.6, anything and everything that you can plot on a number line is called a real number. Now let me bother you guys a little bit. Is square root 2 a real number? What do you guys think? Is square root 2 a real number? Let's see who all wants to argue with me. Yes, Simon's again.
A non-perfect square?
This is not perfect square, but my question is this a real number?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a real number. Any number, if I say square root 2 versus square root of minus 2, this is a real number, this is an imaginary number. And this is not a real number. This is not a real number. Let's not worry about what is imaginary number. We'll talk about that when you guys go to 10th grade, okay? But for now, this is a real number. You can find out the value of that, okay? Be it it's probably 1.414 or something, okay? I don't have to worry about that. Your calculator will tell that, okay? but it is a real number that you should be able to plot on the number line. But if I say, okay, I should be able to plot any real number on a number line. Let me give you guys a riddle. Can you plot this on a number line without much of a use of a tool or something? Without using, let's say, a calculator, or without being far from something realistic? Any thoughts? Tansi, Sanvita, Sandin, Celine, Sami, Arya? Yes, Sanvita.
Are we supposed to like argue with you whether we think?
Yes, I want you guys to argue with me.
I think it's a real number because if we can turn it into, well, not exactly, but we can turn it into a fraction.
Okay, we can turn
Actually, never mind. You can't turn it into a fraction, so it would be irrational. And even though it's irrational, it's still like a type of number.
and that you can plot here. Okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys something which you will not understand, but that's okay. I will just tell you there's a trick that you guys will appreciate maybe after a year when some of you go to level 3. When I have to plot the square root 2, there's something called a Pythagorean theorem, okay? Some of you might be knowing about it. Yeah, a Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, I studied in school a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So when you talk about a Pythagorean theorem, what it says is it's a right angle triangle. If this side is 1, okay, let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. Okay. So what Pythagorean theorem says is A square plus B square equal to C square, meaning the two sides making the 90 degree, square of both the sides is equal to the square of the side opposite to the 90 degree. If I put 1 here, this side's length is 1 and this side's length is 1, what happens? 1 square plus 1 square equal to 2 square. So equal to C square. So this is 1 square is 1, 1 square is 1, so it's become 2. 2 equal to C square. So the length of C will be equal to square root of 2. And again, it might look very complicated, don't worry about it. What I'm saying is, if I have to plot square root 2 on this number line, what will I do is, I will pick 0 to 1, okay, this length, and then I will draw a perpendicular line here. And measure the same length as this one, 1, and join these two. And use this length to using a predictor, and wherever it falls, that becomes square root 2, okay. This is the magic trick I'm telling you guys. You will not appreciate, don't have to appreciate right now, okay. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to convince you guys is, anything that is a real number, that you will be able to plot on a number line, okay. How, why, whatever I did just now, forget about it. We will learn it when the right time comes, okay. So now let's look at some of the problems that you guys will deal with regards to this topic. Yeah. Sandrine and Celine, very quiet today. All okay?
Yeah.
Tansi okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Gayatri okay?
Yes, sir.
See, all the boys have disappeared from the class just because I changed the timing of the class. So only the girls are here. So anyways, coming back to what are the interesting things about this particular topic that we are learning today. Let's look at some of the questions relating to this. But before we go there, if I randomly give you a problem that if you have a decimal 2.3 and you have to multiply that by 5.01, Who all knows how to multiply it? Don't multiply, tell me the story. Yes, Arya, go ahead. Arya, yeah, unmute yourself and tell me the story. How will you do it? Just tell me the approach. Arya is not unmuting. Let's see what Sanvita will do.
I would multiply 23 times 501 and then put the decimal point back 3 places to the left since I took it out from 3 places in total.
Okay, so what you're saying is, so Sandy and Celine, what will be your approach?
I think that we'll... Wait, so basically you're asking like what we'll do?
How will you approach it? Okay, I'm more interested in the solution approach than the answer actually.
I think that you'll first put 5 on the top, 2.3 on the bottom, 5.01. Wait.
Okay, think about it, I'll come back to you. Gayatri, what will you do?
I'm just gonna like move the decimal points for now and then multiply 501 and then 23 and then put the decimal points back in.
Okay, Arya, what will you do? You're not talking with her, I cannot hear you. Okay, let's go to Dikshita. Yep.
At first I would convert it to a fraction and then do it.
Okay. Yep, Sandy and Celine, tell me.
But what I do, I would first do add a 0 to 2.3 to make it even with 5.01. Then I would put 2.30 over 5.01. I would ignore the decimal points and do the multiplication and then add the decimal points to them.
Okay. So I'm just trying to see again. I'm being lazy right now. I'm not teaching anything to you guys. I'm just collating what all I heard from you guys. Yes, Arya, you saying something, beta? Arya, I cannot hear you, beta. Saying something?
No, I accidentally put
Okay. Tansi, what will be your approach? See, I'm making a very smart move, okay? I'm not teaching anything. I'm just collecting information from you guys and then I'll tell the story. My job is done. Yes, Tansi, tell me.
I think I would take out the decimal points and after I multiply 23 by 501, I would put the decimal points back into the answer.
Okay. So based on what I heard from you guys, if you have to multiply like this, what you will do is, you will forget about the decimal point, you will multiply this by 23 and everybody in the, so you'll ignore the decimal point, you'll multiply these numbers. And everybody knows in this class how to multiply, so I'll not talk about it. Let's say by multiplying this you got 10,056. I'm just making it up, okay? I'm just making it up. This is completely wrong. So by multiplying these two, you got 10,056. Then you will say, okay, fine. We have not taken care of the decimals. What do I do? Here I had, after decimal I had 2 digits. Here after decimal I had 1 digit. So total 2 plus 1, 3 digits. I'll start from here, move 3 places. 1, 2, 3. This will be my answer. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is, and this looks okay also, right? 5 point something multiplied by 2.3. So that gives me 10 point something. I mean, again, this multiplication was not right, but I'm just saying that, okay, this is what will be the approach. Second approach that I heard from some of you was that, okay, if I have 2.3 to be multiplied by 5.01, what will I do first is convert this to a fraction. So this decimal number 2.3 can be converted to a fraction by like this. I will write 23 and then put a 1 for the decimal and I have 1 digit after 0. One digit after decimal, so it becomes 23 by 10. So 2.3 converted into this fraction. Similarly, 5.1 will convert into, I'll write 501 and then look at the decimal. For the decimal, I'll put a 1 and then how many digits? 1 digit, 2 digits. So 2 digits, 2 zeros. So we converted our decimal to fraction and then we can multiply these two guys and then divide. Other advantage you have with this approach is, here all look to be prime numbers. There is no opportunity for us to divide. But if it was not like prime numbers where we could divide them, we had a way to simplify the whole thing. So that there's a second option. So now, these are the ways you can do it, and you can always choose which one works best for you guys. Now here, when I look at this particular problem, there were 4 options given. When you multiply these two, the options you get is 23 into 501 into 1 by 10. Second option was 23 into 501 into 1 by 100. Third option was 23 into 501 into 1 by 1000. Fourth option was 23 into 501 into 1 by 10,000. So if this was the question that you guys were trying to solve, what will be the answer? Which one seems to be the right answer? A, B, C or D? Yes, Gayatri.
I think it's A. Wait, what? No. Sorry. Wait.
Dikshita.
B, sir.
Which one? No, tell me the option. Which one looks to be the right answer?
C.
C. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Sandy and Celine.
I think it's B.
It's B. Okay. So see, Gayatri, you want to conclude the answer?
I think it's C.
Okay. How about you, Sammy? Sammy has been quiet today. What happened?
I'm still doing it.
Okay. So this kind of problem you don't actually have to do for each one of you. Okay. Why I was talking about the second option? This was one of the approach. When yes, Sandy and Celine, go ahead.
I'm going to change my answer to C.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, what I was trying to say was that when you have problem like this, you don't necessarily have to do much of a calculation. You can use a technique called elimination. You will use the elimination technique to rule out the options which are not valid. And why? Because you know that, okay, if I'm converting this, I'm getting a 10 as a denominator. If I'm converting this to a fraction, I'm getting 100 as a denominator. What I'm talking about, 10 into 100. This becomes my obvious pick. I don't have to do any calculation because this number and this number are anyways matching for each one of them. So I have to just focus on the denominator, and that I have to know how that denominator is coming into picture. Yeah? Make sense? Okay. So let's pick up one more problem. And this time let's see where are we going with this. Similar problem. Don't try solving it. Think about it. Because I have already been bothering you guys with my most scary story. Yep, there's a scary story in your life. There's one old man who keeps telling you the same thing every day. This question says, which of the following expression is equivalent to 106 into 3.7? Which of the following is equivalent to this one? And the options you have are 106 into 37 divided by 10, 106 into 37 divided by 100, 106 into 37 divided by 1000, 106 into 37 divided by 10,000 again. So this time I want you guys to find your answer without calculating and then tell me the story. Story as in you explain me how would your brain process this kind of problem. What happened, Dikshita? This.
Nothing, sir.
Okay. So everybody here, this was the question we had. Which of the following is equivalent to this one? 106 into 3.7 is equivalent to which of these? Tell me your answer, and not only your answer, tell me how did your brain process this problem. That is what I'm interested in. And a word of caution is don't try solving it. I don't want you guys to solve it. Yes, Sandy and Celine.
I think it's A because when I first saw the problem,
Wait. You gave me the answer. I'll come to everybody just to hear everybody's story, okay? I don't want anybody else to get biased with your story, okay? Just wait there, okay?
sorry.
No, it's okay. Sarvita, go ahead.
I got
Just-
A.
You also got A. Gayatri?
I got A.
Okay. Everybody got A. Now, Sandrine, Celine. Dikshita,
It's a
you got A? Okay. Now, Sandrine, Celine, tell me a story as if you are teaching me right now.
So when I first saw the problem, I saw that 3.7 is the only number with the decimal. So then my brain processed that if you move one step behind, it'll be like if you get 37 and divided by 10, it'll equal to 3.7. So then that was the only answer choice that said had divided by 10. So that's how I got A.
Okay. Is that how everybody thought? Gayatri, Sanvita, Dikshita, Arya, Tansi? Yeah?
I thought it was because when you're multiplying, how you forget about the decimal after you multiply, you put the decimal point in.
Right.
I was just thinking of that because it's only 10, so that's one decimal place.
Exactly. Yep. So again, what I'm trying to see, again, there's one thing where I'm contradicting myself. I always say that you have to read, analyze, and then do it. This time I'm saying read, analyze, and don't do it. Because if you're doing enough with read and analysis, there'll be, when you are sitting in an exam, any exam, be it a city exam, be it your STAR test, be it any other test that you guys come across, always remember there is a 30-70 kind of split. There'll be 30% of the problems that just needs to test your analytical abilities, how you are approaching the problem. This doesn't need a calculation. This kind of problems will only need your analytical skills, and you can save the time for calculation. So when you read the question a couple of times, you will know, okay, this one doesn't need a solution. I just have to make the right selection here, either by processing it or by interpreting it or by eliminating some of the unwanted this thing, right? I mean, you could have also thought in the reverse direction, say, okay, fine, I have 3.7, which will convert into divided by 10. So 100, 1000 and 10,000 out of question, right? Because these two are anyways matching. So only thing that you have to focus on is this area. And these three are out of question. This is the only option I'm left with. So you can always think in the straight direction or in the reverse direction, whichever helps you save time. Yeah? And all that will come at this stage. And this stage will tell you whether you need to calculate or you don't need to calculate. So this stage is very important. Read and analyze. Yep. Let's pick up another question. Let's see how relevant that sounds. This is a little tricky one. Let's come to this problem. The product 796 into 68 equals 54,128. The product 768 into 68 equals 54,128. Use the previous fact to evaluate as a decimal. 7.696. It's 798, sorry, my bad. 798 into 68 results into this. This is given in the question itself. Use the previous fact to evaluate as a decimal. 7.96 into 6.8 equals what? And you have to fill in the box. Yes, Gayatri. You're talking to the mute button.
Okay. I got the answer. I got 54.128.
Okay. 0.128. Yes. Sandy and Celine?
I got 54.128. Also, was this in the homework?
This was not homework. These are the questions.
No, not in the homework.
No, this was not in the homework actually. I had sent it. See, what I do is when I am going through the concept for your class, I handpick some questions that we'll practice in the class. So that's why I had pasted it here. It was not a homework.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what happens is, if I keep on cooking up the questions on the fly in the class, I might give you guys some very stupid questions. I might give you guys very complex questions, which will not align with the level it should align. So that's why I pick the questions that would not haunt you or that will not be super duper easy for you either. Yes, Dikshita.
I got 54.128.
Sanvita, same.
Yeah.
So when it comes to homework, you guys will get the homework either tonight or by tomorrow, okay? That's the deal. Whatever you got here, don't attempt to solve them as assignment. When I'm sending assignment or homework, I'll mention that this is the assignment for this week, okay? Alright. So again, can one of you explain what did you do to come to this conclusion? Just tell me the story part of it. This time I will make my pick. That'll be Sammy, who has not raised hand. Sammy, tell me the story, beta.
Like, you want me to make a word problem first?
No, this is a question, right? So I'm saying, tell me the story, why everybody picked 54.128 as the answer.
Because so you take away the decimals in both of them, right? And so you multiply 796 by 68, right?
Mm-hmm. And we did not have to multiply that because that was given in the question itself, saying that 798 into 68 is 54.128. So that 54.128 is given as an answer of multiplication.
Yeah. And now you have two decimals, right? And they're both next to the first digit. So that's 2 digits. And so you go 2 digits next to the number.
So, no, you don't count from here. You always count from this side.
Oh,
Remember this, okay? Because you always count from here, okay? So you have, after decimal, how many digits you have on the right side. Always count on the right side.
okay, sir.
So, because see, imagine this. If I am trying to multiply this, I will not say that 2 here and 1 here. I'll go here 3. No, I'll not count that way. It is always, you say, after the decimal, how many digits here? Here you have 2 and here you have 1. Yep. So it becomes 2 plus 1, 3. For the sake of doing it faster, or if you just want to convert it, this becomes this by 100, this becomes this by 10. So you see by 1000, so it moves 1, 2 and 3 places. Yep. 1, 2 and 3 places. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
So it's always from the right hand side. That should be the main thing for us to consider. Now, there's one more concept that is called absolute value. Okay. Now I want to hear, we have 10 more minutes. So Pranit, you are probably 10 minutes early for your class. We'll start your class in 10 minutes. Yeah. So what do we mean by absolute value? Any idea? Don't go by math, go by English. Yes, Gayatri.
I think, I'm not sure, but I think absolute value is like probably like the purest form that means no negative. So like if a number is given a negative, you like, if it says absolute value, it's positive. That means you don't like kill with a negative point or something.
Okay. Sanvita, what is your understanding, beta?
It's just the distance of the number from 0, and it doesn't matter like what side of the number line the number is on.
That was quite deep. Okay, let's see what Sandri and Celine says.
I think absolute value means that whenever it's a negative, it turns to a positive. So like any number of like a negative or a positive has to be a positive.
Deekshita?
If the number is like in a negative and it like changes to positive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sammy, Dhansi, Arya, any point of view?
No, sir, we didn't learn this in school.
Okay.
Absolute value is like, like how, I don't remember who, but someone said like, it's a distance, a number is from 0, it's always positive.
Exactly. And you guys should know name of your friend, that was Sanvita. And I made a statement saying that was quite deep, because that was spot on with the perfect definition. So let's do a little bit of double click on this one. If I say 4 and if I say -4, both have different meanings. If you imagine this with respect to number line, you know that 4 is lying on this side of the number line, on the side, right side of 0, and -4 is lying on the left side of 0. If you relate this with my lane theory when I was talking about negative means liability, positive means earning. So this is earning, this is liability. And clubbing these two together, that is what Sanvita said. This is the distance from 0. Absolute value. So when you look at absolute value, there's a technique used for representing it. You put vertical lines next to the number, and that represents absolute value of 4 versus absolute value of -4, and both equals 4. Like I think Sandra and Celine also mentioned, right? You ignore the sign. When you take out the negative value, when you take out the negative sign and only look at the value, the absolute value of that number, that's what it means. So in more technical term, when I made the statement like what Sanita said, doesn't matter which side, it's the distance from 0. If you take a scale to measure on the number line, if you take a scale to measure this 0 to 4 versus 0 to -4, this length, if this is 4 centimeter, this will be 4 centimeter as well. So absolute value can be represented that way, and you can give multiple theories or statements around that. You can say absolute value is something when you ignore the sign. Be that positive or negative, you assume everything is positive. It is the exact value of the number, or it is the distance from 0 regardless of the direction, if you compare that or talk with respect to the number line. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Sammy, you are ahead of your grade now. Okay? And that's the goal for everybody. No matter who is in which grade, by the time we complete this school year, meaning school year of 26-27, everybody would know everything that you guys need to know up to 8th grade. And kids who are in SAT prep class, no matter whether they are in 9th grade or 10th grade or 11th grade, by the time we complete the next school year, they'll know everything that they need to know from 9th to 11th grade. And they'll be ready for SAT. And then it's left to them whether they want to do it one more round. I mean, I prescribe to prepare for SAT for 2 years, because that is how you get multiple chances and make sure that you get your best score. But then yeah, because math is all about practice. You cannot join and disappear and then you study something once and you assume that you have learned everything. So anyways, so coming back to the point, this is how we understand and interpret absolute value. And you'll come across this thing very often when you learn more concepts about it. Net, if you are talking about, let's say, if you talk about it in the coordinate plane, be it this line or this line, this is lying in this quadrant, this is lying in the quadrant where x and y both are positive. But when you look at the absolute value, it just talks about the length of the line, regardless of where it is lying, whether it's in positive direction, negative direction, first quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant, doesn't matter at all. Yep. With that being said, this is absolutely the time for you guys to take some rest and forget about me till I wake you guys up with my assignment, which will be coming either tonight, later in the day, or tomorrow morning, or tomorrow sometime. Yeah. But requesting everybody to make sure that you do the assignment and show it to your parents and explain it like a story. Like I keep on asking you guys, that whatever you have learned, whatever you solve it and show it to your parents. Explain it like a story. Say, okay, fine, this is what the question was and this is what I did. So that way you are confident and your parents are even more confident. Yep. That's the purpose of the assignment. I don't give you guys a lot of assignments, but whatever I give, I want you guys to create story out of it. Yep. Alright, so have fun. Forget about me for next few days till you get your assignments. Alright, take care. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.